Yes, we are live. It is a beautiful day. I am back in Carlsbad from my trip here. I was trying to see if I can get rid of that little line that's right there. Oh, well, gonna have to have just a little line. Let's see. Maybe it's this one. Stand by. Let's see, is it that one? I think I just fixed it. Voila. Problem solving. How's everyone doing? I had a wonderful time in Texas. Got to unplug a little bit, got to recharge. Thank you. Welcome back to Cali. I have to tell you, Texas is great, but there's something about California that just has my heart and soul. But we had a great time. Got to celebrate my dad's 70th birthday. Got to be with family, and just got to hang, which was just wonderful. So it feels good to be back. And we have a special guest today. I'm excited to bring Barbara on. Many of you know Barbara from our group. She's been in the GFIT tribe now for, I don't know, she'll have to tell us. I think at least a year, maybe more. And now I get to know her. I'm getting to know her even better in the GFIT Academy. And we were just going back and forth about recipes and sharing. And she shared with me one of her chili recipes. And I'm working on our pumpkin recipe book for the fall. Almost done. And I was like, hey, maybe this can make a cut in the recipe book. It didn't make the cut because I completed it before she sent it over. But I was like, hey, why don't we do this on a live? I know that there's a lot of people that are wanting more crock pot, more comforting. I know I'm one of those people. And not only just because of seasonal shift, but once you go crock pot, once you bust out the crock pot, you're like, why have I not had this on my counter all year long? And so I thought, why not have her come on, share her recipe. We're going to do it side by side. I have no idea how she's doing it or what exactly. I know like the base of the recipe, but we might have different ways to it. So this is another great example of showing how you can do things different ways. And especially when you're using a crock pot, it's like, you really can't go wrong. So for those of you that aren't like big cooks, crock pot is for you. It's really hard to F up a crock pot recipe. I'm just saying. Okay. Yes. So, Christine, I just quit mowing the yard to watch this, and you're going to want to watch this because I'm bringing on Barbara, AKA Kimmy. If you didn't see that post that she posted the other day, the best Kimmy. She could have been Kimmy. Kimmy, do you remember from Full House? Yeah, we'll have to talk about that too. Who else watched Full House as a kid? Yeah, I was all about Full House. Full House, Family Matters. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that and see what Barbara's favorite TGIF show was. Let's see here. Haven't been back since 1981 to West Covina. Oh, really? Oh, must come out. All right, ladies, you ready? We're going to bring on Barbara. We're going to talk all things crockpot. We're also going to talk about this week's mantra about, becoming a social ninja, how to separate yourself from, when things become a little too much. How do you set those boundaries? So we're going to bring her on. But before, I wanted to answer one question that popped up in the tribe. One question somebody asked was about the popping that potentially can happen in your lower back or your back as we're doing our crunches for this month. Woohoo! Hello, Crunch Challenge. That's the only thing I did in Texas. Just for the record, I didn't do any of our workouts. I just did our Crunch Challenge. But so it's a really good question. The thing is as long as there's not pain or inflammation, swelling, it's really just joints that are maneuvering back and forth. And I actually did like a little quick search, and a little fun fact about those joints that are popping back and forth. When you're coming up into that crunch position and you're in this curled position, the synovial fluid actually kind of opens up. And a lot of times just that opening can cause gas, or can cause the gas that's within the synovial fluid to actually just separate. And that is what you're hearing is the gas that's removing from your joints. Interesting fun fact, right? So as long as there's no pain or inflammation, a lot of times it's just that gas that's opening up and escaping from the synovial fluid. So really good question there. No pain, no swelling. You're good. If there's pain, definitely go see a doctor. But for the most part, little, pops here and there, not the end of the world. Yes. Okay, here we go. So let's bring in Barbara and let's get to cooking. Hi, Barbara.
Hey.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This is so fun. I feel like I'm hanging out with you and like all of our besties in the group. So this is super fun.
Right. And no better way than to cook and be in each other's kitchen. So tell everyone a little bit about you. How long have you been in GFIT? Where are you from? Give us a little rundown.
Okay, so I live in Albany, Oregon, so I'm just right up the road from you. It's probably a little bit longer than right up the road, but not too far. I joined the GFIT group. I was kind of a troller there for a while. Like I joined and I saw, I kind of just participated. I did the squat challenge last year, and I think that's really kind of what drew me in a little bit more. And then in January of this year, I was like, I'm just going full force. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm just holding back. I'm just going to give it 100%. And we were up snowshoeing. I was with my family, and I thought, I'm going to dive in head first, and I'm going to be fully committed. And I have. And I just think that the friendships, the connections, the workouts, the meals, like all of it is just something that I think I was craving and needing in just a really big way. And so I've enjoyed every moment of it.
I just love it. I love how you just fully, like you said, you jumped all in, and even your post yesterday, bring a little humor into it with your little Kimmy. So tell me about that. Was that like a hair fail or what was that?
Okay. Yeah, it was a hair fail. So I have big hair. I love my hair. I'm thankful God gave me this hair because I don't do hair. So it's good. I was on the gram, right? Instagram, and I was trying this new little updo thing. And so it was supposed to be this little half updo, and I got done with it and I looked at myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am Kimmy Gibbler all day long. And I just laughed and died, and it was just so funny. So
Here, I think I can even bring you in. It was darling. I'm just saying, I nailed it. This
Yeah.
Here she is. Look how cute you are.
Oh yes, that's so
I
funny.
love that.
Oh
Was
my
that your
gosh.
favorite TGIF show?
Yeah. Oh yes. And I have watched it with my girls now, and they love it. They just think it's the most hilarious show. So it's been a really good, fun, reliving the Full House.
A way to escape the crazy and get into just some mindless fun, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Do you guys do you look for the old episodes? Because I know they have some new now, but I'm like, yeah, that's not the Full House that I know.
It is not. I tried watching the first season of the Fuller House, and it didn't have the same feel, and it just had a little bit of, I don't know, it had a little bit more adult humor, I think, that we kind of would get, and I really didn't feel like maybe it was the best thing for my kids. And so, we found, I think it was on, I don't know if it was Netflix or Amazon or where it was, but we found starting from season 1, day 1, and I think my girls and I watched the whole thing over again. So it's been great.
Isn't that funny? My kids are always like, what's that laughing in the background? You know how they have like when you're telling you when you're supposed to laugh.
I know it. I know. It's so funny.
You don't realize it's there until they point it out, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's super annoying actually.
Yeah, we were watching this weekend, my husband and I, we were watching some 90s movies with Sandra Bullock, and it was kind of funny because the kids, they put all of the actors' names, they do everything before the movie starts with all the music as they're going into it. And that is so foreign to them because that always comes after the movie ends. So it's just funny.
All those little things, right? I know.
Yeah.
Gosh. And okay, how old are you? We're about the same.
I'm 40. I just turned 40 this year. Yes.
Whoa. All right, girlfriend. So here's a few, but we are same generation. So
yes. Oh, yes, definitely. I love it.
Okay, so are you a pumpkin lover?
I love pumpkin. I do not like pumpkin spice lattes. That's the one pumpkin thing that I don't care for. I don't like pumpkin in my coffee. I just like my coffee. That's it. But I love those pumpkin almonds. Those were so dangerous, by the way. Yeah, I had to be very careful with those.
That's why I like so many, because I'm like, okay, I gotta portion them out and then Ziploc them up and put them away because they're, I'm glad you like them. They're so good.
Yeah. But I do love all things pumpkin. All things pumpkin, except for in my coffee.
There you go. All right. Yep. So I am a pumpkin lover too. And I love that this recipe doesn't call for pumpkin, right? But it
does not. Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to do sweet potatoes.
Fall kind of flair.
Yes.
All right. So let's get to cooking. And then, I'm excited to make this. I've never made it myself, this exact recipe. So it's going to be in the GFIT app under our soup section. It's going to be titled Barbara's sweet potato turkey chili. I believe I have it in there as. So let's teach me. Let's go, girl.
That was great. Okay, so I'm actually going to make mine on the stovetop. And this is really great too. I love the crock pot idea. My husband and I are leaving town here just as soon as we get done with this. We're jetting out. We're going to California. But I'm going to do it on the stovetop. My parents are going to come over a little bit, and I think they're going to have it for lunch. So I went ahead and I had we're going to Lake Shasta area.
Okay, fun.
So, not as fun as the Monterey Beach area, but it'll still be great. So So yeah, turkey. Perfect.
Okay,
I got my pot. Yep. And I went ahead and did my beef. I went ahead and, or turkey, not beef. And I went ahead and browned it.
So this is, we're doing it 2 ways. She's doing it stovetop. I'm literally like, okay, pretend that I'm not as cool as Barbara and I don't have my shit together. And I just like, didn't, you know, like I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to prepare. I'm doing it like that way. Okay?
No,
so,
I stopped by the store. I do not have my shit together. I stopped by the store to get some pre-cut things, my pre-cut bag of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
So I didn't spend, although I would like to think I'm like Julia Child today, I'm kind of living that cooking dream right now. I'm not. This is like real life. So, yeah, putting the, got the meat in there. It's already kind of cooked. And I'm just going to kind of dump and go. Yeah. You're just going to.
She's dumping in there. I'm going to dump in here. And again, it's like, this is no excuse. Like when people are like, I don't have an excuse. They have all these excuses. I don't have time. I don't have this. I'm like, you got a crock pot?
Yeah.
No excuses.
Yeah. Well, and even like going to the store, like I had no time to chop veggies and stuff. And there are so many convenience, not unhealthy convenience foods, but pre-chopped veggies. Grocery stores are all about that these days. And as much as I like to be able to buy my vegetables, chop and stuff, just isn't reality sometimes. So
absolutely.
I've got my IG hair that I have to spend time on.
There you go. Okay. So what are we doing now? What are we adding? You put in,
I'm going to go ahead and dump in my onions, and there's some peppers in there.
Okay, I got her beat. I actually chopped my onions.
Look at you. Aww.
So I'm just throwing it all in here.
So pretty.
Onions, white onions, I don't think it really matters. I think the yellow, whatever you said to do, okay?
Yeah, whatever your favorite onion is. And then this isn't in the recipe I sent you, but I found some chopped peppers. And I put jalapenos in there since I'm not going to be eating this tonight. I have my little jalapeno, but I'm just going to keep it out because my kids, they don't like it.
We're kind of doing it 2 ways. I'm going to throw in the jalapeno because I'm a jalapeno freak. I love them. And I'm actually going to do more than what she has on the recipe because I'm like, why not? And that's the beautiful thing is, you can do things on your own. And then also, like she said, she puts in some more veggies. And since veggies are free, throw in whatever you want. So I'm going to throw the jalapeno in there with the juice, Barbara. So I'm making it like extra spice.
Maybe I should keep driving south. My mouth just watered. That sounds so good. I'm really digging the pre-chopped garlic right now. It's just saving time in life. So throwing a little garlic in there.
For once, I think because I wanted to do it as best as possible, I actually got the fresh. You see me do a lot of the Dorots, but I'm actually going to add in the fresh garlic. Perfect. Okay, a few cloves there. I'm not even going to mince them right in there.
So good.
You know what fun vegetable I am actually going to add? A root vegetable. Do you use, or I'm sure you've tried, but sometimes I have forgotten about this, turnip?
Oh, yes. My husband eats a lot of turnips. So he makes this breakfast hash with sweet potatoes, zucchini, and turnips.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't eat them all, but he does. Oh, perfect.
So there's been like a lot of talk lately about jicama in the academy and in some in a couple other groups, and so it's funny because there's so much you can do with the jicama, right? You can do like sweet, savory, you can hash it. We all know you can do so many different things. But jicama, I'm learning, you cannot find them everywhere. Our dear friend Petra made it clear to us that you cannot find them in the Netherlands. So we did like a little search on like, okay, what else can be similar to a jicama? And parsnips, but they're a little higher in carbs, but turnips. And so I started using more turnips, and I have to say they're a whole lot. I love them the same as a jicama, to be honest with you. But what I do like about them better is that they don't take as long to prep because I cannot stand taking the skin off of a jicama. So
yeah, you just peel them like a carrot. They just cut right up. Perfect.
So I'm gonna throw some in there.
Okay, I'm going to put my sweet potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and pop those in there.
And let me see your sweet potatoes. Or the bag at least? Are they sweet potatoes?
I just did the bag.
Okay. I wonder if those, I had just talked to, sometimes like this is a yam, but sometimes people call sweet potatoes yams. Yams are more like this and sweet potatoes are more yellow. So is yours a sweet potato or yam? Looks like it's a yam, huh?
Looks like a yam. I know. I just actually bought. Oh, I should get them out real quick.
Well, either way, sweet potato or yam, you can throw that in there. But I just had this conversation at the grocery store because so many people, even at restaurants, they'll order a sweet potato. It comes as a yam. I'm like, this is a yam. It's not a sweet potato.
Yeah.
It's a yam.
This is a purple one that we just got. And so they're really yummy too. And so it just calls a purple sweet potato.
Oh, nice.
There's so many fun varieties. Can of green chilies.
Okay. Green chilies. I've got mine right here. Easy. You don't even have to chop them. Okay.
Perfect. Yep. And you could probably get the hotter, like spicier ones too if you wanted more heat.
Or Barbara, you can add in another can of jalapeno.
Yes, that's perfect. I love it.
Please not to be for the kids.
That is so great. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? I think I'm going to throw in. Okay. So this is how forgiving this recipe is. I put the tomatoes to get, fire roasted tomatoes or some chopped tomatoes, a couple cans of them. Yeah. Oh, look, I have Kirkland. I'll be the tomato sauce.
Well, so same
You'll
thing.
be the tomatoes. Yeah. So super forgiving. Just throwing in the tomato sauce.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. You can go on your trip.
What's that?
Thanks for joining even before you go on your trip.
Oh, it worked out perfect. We don't have school today or tomorrow. We have in-service days. And so just all came together. Alignment, right?
That's right.
Thanks.
That's me. I'm more fatty.
So beans, I do rinse my beans beforehand. So I don't know what I did with the cans, but yep, perfect. Yep. I'm going to dump those in.
I rinse mine as well to get all the crap off, but also do you notice that rinsing them helps with any kind of gas issues?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That helps a ton.
Rinse the beans. Okay. Nice. We're looking pretty good. Look at this, schnazzy.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Box of broth. I'm going to dump that in there. And then we'll add the spices.
Are you doing chicken or beef?
I'm doing beef.
I usually do chicken, and I was like, she's doing beef. I'm doing beef.
Oh, yeah. It's got a little bit richer flavor, I feel like, for the chili. So it just kind of gives you more of that deeper chili-ish taste. Do that.
Fun.
Oh my goodness. That's so good. I do add a cup of water just because in the crock pot you might not need to, but for me on the stovetop, yeah.
And that dilutes some of the chicken broth too if you're using or beef broth if you're using sodium. So but I don't have room, so I'm just gonna stick with that.
Perfect. I know I put measurements of the salt and chili powder and stuff on there. I'm just gonna sprinkle just
because why not?
How I roll. So salt, chili powder, and cumin.
Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of salt since my broth already had salt, and then chili powder and cumin. Perfect.
Yes, and I go through a ungodly amount of cumin every week.
Really?
Yes,
I do everything.
I love it in everything. That and curry. Oh,
that's right. You are the curry girl.
I love curry.
We'll have to get some curry stuff going on. That's not my go-to, but then every time you say it, I'm like, oh, curry. That sounds really good.
That's yummy.
Ooh, yeah.
And just a little bit of pepper. I'll just do a little dash. And I think that's it.
Set it and forget it. It already
forget it.
And what do you suggest? How do you do the chili? Do you do it slow on the crock pot, or do you do like slower, longer?
Well, I would probably do the 8 to 10 hours slow. That way it just gets a deeper, thick.
Perfect. Be ready by dinner.
Or if you forget and then you are like, oh shoot, it's noon or 1, and then crank that baby up. I mean, I think it's either or.
Set it and forget it. I've got my dinner done. I got to hang with my bestie. Thank you for that, Barbara.
Yes, thank you. It's so good.
Is that one of your family faves or seasonal favorites?
It is. My kids, they kind of balk at the sweet potatoes. They like my regular chili. We actually did a big chili feed this weekend. We had some friends come over and played games, sat by the fire and stuff. So I just did this, but I omitted the sweet potatoes, and they love it. So it's good. And then for my family, bringing in my Southern roots there, I usually serve it with cornbread. I love making cornbread in my big cast iron skillet. And so that's always fun.
I'm going to have to make a GFIT approved cornbread. Yes, it would have corn, but I could take out some of that other stuff. That sounds delish.
Yes. I have made it before with almond milk and with almond flour. So, because my husband he's pretty sensitive to, well, he can't have any dairy and he's very sensitive, or eggs. I mean, he's got a lot of gut issues that we deal with. So,
Did it come out?
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. It was a little dry and flaky, but it still tasted really good.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's like trying to give me fake peanut butter. It might be one of those things where, okay, yeah, it's good, but it's not really the real thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Cornbread lovers, you probably tell me, Gina, just don't even go there.
Yeah, completely.
So talk to me a little bit about, so this week's mantra was all about becoming a social ninja and how, let's have the conversation about social media. Does it overwhelm you? What are your 2 cents on social media? And have you found that it kind of can take over, and have you had to create boundaries for yourself, or what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think there's been times in my life where it's been very overwhelming, where I've taken things personal. I get too involved in different things where I've had to, where it's created a problem. And I have really, over the last few years, have just learned to set those boundaries up. I think one of the things that's been very changing for me in this aspect is my daughter. So I have a soon-to-be 16-year-old, and I have a soon-to-be 14-year-old and a 10-year-old son. And so seeing them, they're not on social media. We have not allowed them to get on the social media stuff, but just seeing them on their phones or their iPads, just playing games, doing things, has helped me to remember, to help set those healthy boundaries, because I want to be a good example for my kids. And so if I'm struggling with it, then they're certainly going to struggle with it. I mean, teens, I was reading a statistic the other day, and it's just mind-blowing how detrimental social media can be on a teenager's brain and mind. And so it's the same thing for adults. We struggle with it as well. So I got to the point where recently, if it's not serving me joy, if it's not bringing me happiness, I don't need it in my life. There are so many things out there. We know all the bad. We know all the ugly. We know all the trials and the things that are going on in this world. And we don't need to be inundated with it 24/7. I truly think that we are not meant to be plugged into something all of the time. We're not meant to have information coming in constantly. I don't think it's right for our minds to be going through that. So learning to just set those boundaries up have been very important for me. And then, as an example to my kiddos.
Do you have rules in the house, or for personal rules that you set up for yourself?
Yes, we try to be off of all technology 2 hours before bed, usually around 7:00, unless it's the TV, unless we're watching Full House together. But yeah, as far as the phones go, iPads, that kind of thing, barring homework, being on a laptop for homework. But we try to be off 2 hours before bedtime. We do not have our phones. We really try. I shouldn't say always, because we do slip, right? We're not perfect. We struggle with it at times, but having family meals, I try not to eat. Even if I'm by myself, I try not to eat with my phone. It's so easy to sit there and, pull up Facebook or Instagram while you're eating. And then before you know it, your meal's gone. Your brain hasn't had a chance to connect with the fact that you just ate an entire meal. And so I just trying to remove, just keeping it out of my hand as much as possible.
And just be more mindful, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this always kind of comes up from time to time, I think, when we're all affected by it. So there was the huge blockage. I don't know if you were working or really knew much about it, but
yes.
So we had that big outage, right? That just happened. And I actually didn't know it was an outage. I thought it was my phone that was going. I was mad. So I was like, I just got this phone. Now I got to go get a new one. It was the spinning wheel syndrome, the whole thing. Come to find out, it was actually a real thing. And, but just to see how people were affected by it was really interesting. And obviously coming from different standpoints, you're coming from a consumer standpoint, or just trying to get maybe your social fix or whatever. And then coming from a business standpoint, everyone kind of is affected differently. Yeah. But I saw a lot of people that were yeah, wow. I realized how addicted that you are to your phone, and without your phone, how you almost don't know what to do, with your time. And I think that at that point, it is something that it's everything happens for a reason, right? It's time for us to like check in. Okay, how much time are we spending on social, and also how much time are we spending just mindlessly like scrolling? And so I think it was a good conversation of like not allowing, like, because I saw a lot of like, I'm not going to post. It was like, wait a minute, because there's so much positive too that can come from it. It's just kind of having those parameters and not letting yourself go down rabbit holes when you're on there. Right? Like we're about to be biased, but being able to like plug into the GFIT tribe, if that brings you joy and makes you feel good and kind of removes the distraction of maybe what's happening around you, but still within parameters, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think my Facebook feed anymore these days is mostly just the GFIT people. and it's, super positive. And I think you need to allow yourself, if there's somebody that doesn't bring you joy in your life, if you've got Becky Lou from the 4th grade that's on your Facebook and, you only connected with her a handful of times in life, but she's bringing you down, it's okay. Bye, Becky Lou.
But Becky.
No. Yeah. But it's okay. And I think allowing ourselves to, I think sometimes, I'm a people pleaser. And so if I go to like block somebody or remove somebody or unfollow, I mean, that's like, it can create some stress, but I think we just got to allow ourselves like, hey, I don't need this right now. I need to protect myself, my mind, and that's okay to do that. And you don't have to go out. Some people like to say, I'm taking a social media pause. They like to put a little thing up. I think that's great. You don't necessarily need to announce that to the world either. You can just say, hey, I'm going to check it once today, and that's it.
Yeah, I love that. And so I think that there's just there's a lot of conversation here, because it's like, okay, there's like our little safe heaven, like there's our little group, right? And then there's like all this other stuff. So my thing is like, okay, like Barbara said, agree 100%. We were not meant to be plugged in. That's why there's eye issues. That's why there's like mental health issues. There's all these things going on because our brains, I don't think were meant to be plugged in, number one, to this, but also to all, like, when you're on Facebook and all of a sudden there's like there's dings, there's like you're getting distracted by all these ads, and because they know what they're doing. And I don't think that our brain was not meant to be distracted, and that's where we sometimes feel that overwhelm, because we're trying to process all this information, right? So I was thinking, because I've been thinking about this, is like, I think that like having those boundaries, like I personally too, because, again, running your business on social and all that kind of stuff, you have to create these boundaries, and I'm not a pro at this yet. So that's like a goal. I want to become a pro at this. But so a couple of things that I like, some tools that we could do is to set up a timer, like even within the GFIT tribe, like, okay, I'm going to check in with in the group, like, okay, after my workout, I want to just post up because I'm feeling good. I want to inspire somebody, and that's great because that inspiration inspires somebody else to go, right? Like, how inspired do you get? And then maybe at lunchtime, like you said, like you're having your lunch, you just want to check in, maybe just like, and then maybe before dinner, or maybe it's just once a day, or maybe it's once a week, whatever, right? So you set up those boundaries. Then the other thing is, like, even within those boundaries, you could set up like, I'm going to set my timer so that I'm only on for 10 minutes each time I check in, or 10 minutes once a day, or whatever it is for you. And so I have this fun little,
that's cute.
This is a 10-minute timer. You can use a digital timer. It doesn't have to be this cute and pretty. But this is something I got for my meditations. And so when you flip it over, it's cute, right? So it's 10 minutes. And I can set this on my computer, or I can set this wherever. And so when this goes off, it's like your personal commitment to yourself, like, done.
You're done. Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so not only is this giving us a time, but also here's the other thing. It's quality. So as we're talking about distractions, if you see this thing that's going, you're not distracted by all that other stuff because you want to plug in and you want to root Barbara on, you want to root Amy on, you want to root on all these people. So you're less distracted because you're looking at your time thinking, oh my God, I only got 10 minutes. I got to make this 10 minutes count on in the areas that are bringing me joy. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
So I thought that was kind of a fun little thing, a fun little tool, ladies. If you're having a hard time struggling, with how much time you're spending, that might be something to give it to try.
I love it.
So we can become social ninjas, ladies, and we don't need to we could take the best from everything and let the stuff that doesn't serve you go. And look at what it does here. It brings us all together. It allows us to connect and just focus on those positive things that social media does bring.
Yes. I love it. That's so great. So good. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Barbara.
Well, thanks for having me. This is so fun. so much love to you and the energy and the joy that you bring. And I've told you this many times, but you are in your calling. It is so great when you can just tell. And so you have blessed so many others, and then we get to go out there and we get to be blessings to others. And it's just this domino effect. And yeah, we can be just together. I love it.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing. Now that's going to go in the GFit app, and we're spreading the Barbara love right here. So give this chili a try. I'm going to try it tonight for dinner. I'll post up in the group and let you know what I think, but I know it's going to be a winner. And yeah, and I put in there that this is 6 servings. I don't remember what you had, but I did the math. So that 6 servings, and each serving is 1 protein and 2 carbs.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that was thank you.
Yeah. So there you go. So you can add this into your menu wherever it calls for 1 protein and 2 carbs.
Perfect.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. We'll see you in the group. Have the best trip ever. Unplug and, keep us posted on how things are going out there, and send maybe a Cali pic our way.
I will absolutely. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Barbara. Thank you. Oh, that was fun. So there we have it. I love this connection. Who else wants to cook in the kitchen with me? Anyone have a fun idea that you want to share with the tribe? I would love to test it out. I would love to share. I would love to show you how we can put it into our meal plans. And yeah, that was really fun. So I'm glad that we got to do that. Barbara's just such a sweet woman. And like I said, I've been able to get to know her a little bit more in the GFit Academy, and I just love her vibe. And our husbands both are firemen, so we've got that extra little connection there. So yeah, ladies, I hope you have an incredible day. Give this a try. I'm going to publish it right now in the GFit app, and I can't wait to try it later. And hopefully that some of these tips that we shared help. I know that this actually, when I was gone, I spent some time to kind of like think about some boundaries around social. And so I haven't been implementing this yet for my like 10-minute blocks throughout the day to check in with each and every one of you. And again, I'm coming from a different standpoint. So this is like my timer when it comes to just checking in, which may be different than me, like, getting back to an email on a one-on-one. There's work and then there's social. There's 2 different things here we're talking about. But this is like a really cool tool because again, it's giving you that personal timer, but then also it is kind of like focusing on that quality time. Because when you only have so much time, it's like when we do our workouts, if you only have 10 minutes to get in your workout, you're going to make sure that those 10 minutes really, really count. So you're less distracted because you're like, I got to get this in. I only have 10 minutes to do it. So same goes here. If you only have 10 minutes to check in with your girls, you're going to make sure that all those ads that are cruising along the side, or that, what'd she say her name was? Karen, Barbara, whatever, we're going to just call her Felicia. If those Felicias, all that stuff doesn't distract you and you really focus on the things that truly do matter. So anyways, ladies, have an incredible day, and we'll be in close touch, and I will be seeing you very, very soon. Best day ever.